right, find your way into a comfortable seat. And we're going to start today. I giggle because I set up all the cameras and stuff and then I move my mat. But we're good. Come into a comfortable seat. And let's use the Anahata Mudra today. So bringing the base of your palms and your thumb and your index and your thumb and your pinky fingers, cupping your hands so it looks like you have a flower or a chalice. Bring your thumbs to heart center. You feel a little bit of effort, like it could be gentle effort in your hands. Wiggle your heart around, wiggle your spine tall, roll your shoulders around, maybe make some faces if you need to. And then find a little bit of stillness as you take a couple breaths. Take a moment to notice where you are in the day today. And then take a moment to dedicate your class to someone other than yourself. So even when we choose to dedicate our class to someone who, needs some healing or needs some love, or you can even dedicate it to, an area where there's a lot of hardships going on, whether it's war or natural disasters, or just where there's a concentration of struggling in our world for survival. It doesn't take you out of the equation. You will still benefit largely from the practice. Just like we don't lose anything when we pray for other people. Quite the opposite. So lift up an image either of an area or a person. They can be alive or they can be dead even. And let's sound 3 ohms. So empty your breath. Take a deep inhale. And then soften your hands and actually press your palms of your hands to your chest. Take a full inhale as you lift your heart up towards the warmth of your hands. And then we're going to find our way into half butterfly. So you can pivot on your yoga mat if you want to. You can stay however you are. And you're going to stretch your right leg out, left leg in, about 90 degrees. This is a yin version of Janusara. Janushasana. Hello. Janusara. Hello. And you're going to take a couple moments and you're just going to sway back and forth, twisting. We're going to bow over our extended leg. So you actively twist and then place your hands and let your elbows be heavy. Let your head drop down. And soften into the pose, coming into your posture and reminding yourself that we're doing yin yoga today. So find the right shape for your body, which you've probably done already. And then on purpose, grow softer. So your muscles relax as much as possible. You just keep enough action in your body to stay in the pose. And you'll notice throughout the posture, you might have to check in certain places to remind yourself to relax again. And inwardly, make the shift to be willing to stay in the pose. And that means staying through being uncomfortable, insanely excited, sad, angry, annoyed, all of these different reactions we can have, emotional reactions we can have. But if there's sharp pain in your body, you come out of the pose and take care of yourself. So I'm working with our time that we're alive right now and doing the class right now. It's the day before a solar eclipse, which means a new moon, and there's eclipsed over the sun, as well as diving into some of the imaginations around the development of planets. The real big evolution that we see echoed from looking at how a sun evolves to all the way down to how our body actually evolves and grows and develops, our being, and even maybe our biography. And this quotation is a Serapis meditation given as an initiatory text by Alfred Lingen, a Gnostic priest and founder of the Aquarian Spiritual Center. I am black as the night from which the light of a new day descends. I am past, present, and future. I am the anointed of heaven. I am what I am. I am the blended colors of life that light the bridge into the new age. I am seed, plant, and flower. I am the anointed of earth. I am that I am. With your next inhale, start to walk your hands back and place your left hand behind your left thigh and stretch out the whole right side of your body. Expanding through your rib cage, take a full deep breath, and then with your exhale, bring your hips back down. Switch your legs. And, maybe you're doing a little bit more of like a white person imitation of a Hawaiian dance or whatever kind of wavy, seaweedy influence dance you can do. And then twist over your extended, beautiful left leg. Maybe you have to dust it off. And soften, bow down over your leg. Take the time to settle into the pose. Make the small adjustments you need to really make it your own posture. So this solar eclipse for most of us, that's October 2nd, give or take 24 hours, depending where you live. I think it's most visible, or like the fullest solar eclipse in South America, I believe. And in the heavens, it is conjunct, it's conjunct Mercury. So we just yesterday had Mercury so close, like cazimi to the sun, which means like right at the same degree. It's usually a very insightful moment. Whenever there is an eclipse, we look at the whole night sky, the whole cosmos, because there is this relationship between both the luminaries, the sun and the moon. It really is this kind of big action that includes all of the other elements in the sky. So this eclipse is being squared by Mars, which we can think of as like activated by attention. That's like a challenge. And Mars isn't just aspecting the eclipse, but it's actually in this very powerful trine, which is like a triangle shape between Venus in Scorpio and Saturn in Pisces. And trines in our personal birth chart, but also in the heavens for everyone, is much more of a comfortable, joyful or nice feeling aspect. Sometimes we can get lazy in them, but it strengthens. And also Venus is the ruler of Libra, where the eclipse is taking place. So it has a lot of power in the sky right now, archetypally. Venus is in Scorpio. Mars is in Cancer. And I already mentioned that Saturn is in Pisces. So this water trine especially speaks to our emotion and our heart consciousness. And with your next inhale, start to roll up. Place your right hand on the yoga mat behind your right thigh and dance your left arm up to the sky, stretching the whole left side of your body. Feel your breath expand into the pose. Find the sweetness of it. And then bring your hips back down. Cross your ankles, roll over your crossed ankles, and we're going to come into a wide-kneed child's pose. So you take your knees just a little bit wider than you normally do in a child's pose. And at first, we're just going to walk our hands forward, forehead resting onto the ground. Take a couple breath cycles to get the little wiggles out, to comfortably release into it. You know, find your home in that posture. Now, the theme of an eclipse, a solar eclipse, is one of completing something, of ending something, even though it's happening on a new moon. So we have this little bit of a dual nature, but it's really about, you know, what thing is ready to come to an end, to finish, to be tied up and laid aside. And in Libra, the sign of balance, the sign of relationships, ruled by Venus, we can have, you know, it's really about different relationships. And, you know, of course it could be marriage and partnerships in that way, but more so it's like any relationship. It can be business. It can be just social, friends, enemies. And I find it can even be the relationship between who you've been and who you want to be. You know, we have this expression, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and we in Libra we really see that also kind of plays into it, that, you know, what thing are you meeting? What element in your life are you having a relationship with that maybe has lost its beauty? And not beauty in the conventional sense, but really this, the radiance, the liveliness, the colorful elements, the luminescent elements. So when we look at this happening while we have this very strong water trine, while it's squared to Mars, which is often like our will and our initiative, but it's Mars in Cancer, so it's a very particular flavor. You know, one of the themes I've been trying to cultivate in my own being right now with Mars in Cancer is this nurturing my will, you know, mothering my will to serve really this much bigger picture than just the desire that, like, below the belt desire, or I guess below the rib cage, because sometimes food is definitely one of those comfort things that we seek. With Venus in Scorpio, there's this lovely and challenging element where you're being asked to go deep. You know, Venus in Scorpio has this reputation for unearthing secrets, for speaking out loud the thing that was supposed to be quiet. You know, and the third element between those lovers of Venus and Mars is Saturn, which is much more of this maturing, formative force, serious nature. And being in Pisces, we can think about, like, how do we find, you know, what do we need to put aside, or what cycle is done that will allow me to mature in my spirituality, to mature in becoming more of who I promised I would be before I was even born. Now, start to just walk your hands to the right. And so you stretch the left side body here. We're not going to stay too long. We've been in the wide-kneed child's pose for a little bit here. But soften into it. Feel how your breath feels in the shape that you're in. And then bring your arms back through center and to the other side to stretch the other side of your rib cage. So when your arms are to the left, you're stretching your right rib cage and side body. Feel how your breath feels. How you are able to fill up the shape of this posture. So what needs to be done with? What needs to finish for you to be more free to plant the seed, to start, not necessarily dramatically, but just start to set in motion a new cycle, a new pattern of development? And then start to make your arms take the walk back to center. Squeeze your knees together and take your arms back in embryo pose. And with your next inhale, like a plant growing up, roll up your chest. And either keep your heels underneath your butt or take your heels out to the side. We're going to stay seated here. So when we're going back, I like to have my heels underneath my butt. But when we're just sitting here in Virasana, I actually like to have my heels to the side. But you can figure out what feels appropriate for you today. And we're going to play a little bit with our fingers. So bring all the tips of your fingers together. And then like push your fingers. This is a little yang-y. You know, even the moon during a solar eclipse, the moon comes in front of the sun and there's this like halo all around the new moon. Okay, so push your fingertips together and hollow and activate the space in your hands. And then lift your elbows up and let your ribs float up and get full in your chest, breathing into your back body. And close your eyes. You might even engage your root lock. Slight engagement of your Uddiyana Bandha. So this is a very yang-y moment. You can lift your chin slightly so you're not blocking your chin, your chest, blocking your throat. I am black as the night from which the light of a new day descends. I am past, present, and future. I am the anointed of heaven. I am what I am. I am the blended colors of life that light the bridge into the new age. I am seed, plant, and flower. I am the anointed of earth. I am that I am. Feel the quality of your breath. Feel if you can expand your breath. And relax your hands down, palms up on your knees, or next to you is fine too. You can even close your eyes if that feels good. And then inhale and start to walk your hands forward and stretch your legs out. And before we come into Sphinx, stack your forearms and just let your forehead rest down onto your forearms. You can roll your legs in and out. You can wiggle your toes. You can tuck your toes under a little bit, just allowing movement to let you feel back in. And then make your way into Sphinx pose. So you want to feel that your elbows, or see that your elbows are shoulder distance apart. You can bring your elbows a little in front of your shoulders for a more passive pose, or a lot more in front if you need to have a more gentle back bend where your ribs come onto the ground. Take the time to have the small fiddles and fixes, making the adjustments. So when we look at our cosmos, we know that we are in a solar system. And so everything that we experience in our world, that we can see in our heavens, even that we experience in our inner relationship to the stars and the planets, has to do with the sun in this solar system. That's the school we're in. And when we take up the language of the evolution of the cosmos, or the evolution of the human being in relationship to the cosmos, we often will put the sun in the place where it represents spirit. You know, even the most rudimentary ideas of, you know, where is the heavens? Where is spirit? Often we are like, oh, it's up there, it's out there, it's everywhere. It is the part of this world that is alive but intangible. We can think of the spirit realm being where we come from, being born onto earth, and then where we go to after we die away from earth. You know, if we just look at the mere calculation of weight, even more specifically, maybe our bones, you know, when we're born, we don't weigh so much. And as we grow and become denser, sure, we might become more voluptuous. And even if we don't become skinny towards the end of our life, we do, you know, we do have the density that lifts up out of our bones. And after the prime of our life, we become lighter. You also can sometimes see in the maturation process that there is more lightness, more of a direct relationship to the unknown later in life. Just the same way, maybe when you meet like a very young baby, you can feel just when they even just turn their eyes to you, how you're graced with their attention, because there is something so light and pure about their attention and their blick, their gaze, their look. And we see in some of our elderly that they might lose, you know, certain memory capacities, be a little bit in a dream world, but they still have this ability to communicate something, even if it's nonverbal. Now either stay in Sphinx, or if you'd like to, you can extend your arms and reach up into Seal. You can take your arms a little further out in front of you, a little closer back towards you, fixing where it makes the most sense for your body today. And whichever kind of Seal you ended up in, turn your chin over your left shoulder and then make your lips into kind of like a duck face, pushing your lower jaw out. Like it's a dramatic, like overly dramatic kissy face. And then bring your chin back to center and take it to the other side. Again, pushing your lower jaw forward and puckering your lips with a little space in between. Like you can nearly feel like what it would be like to try to make your lips go into a beak of a duck. Beautiful. And then return your gaze to center and take 10 more full deep breaths here. And after your 10th breath, you can lower down to the ground. So how my teacher, Gigi Young, describes it is in our planetary evolution. You can see this in the system of anthroposophy. You can see it even in some descriptions in the Eastern mystical descriptions. But there is this evolution of the first part of our cycle is this feminine cycle, and it's becoming its embodiment. And it's becoming where from the sun, which is Steiner describes it actually as being empty. Just the same way that spirit is empty, untangible. That as the evolution happens from the planets, it becomes more and more embodied and more dense. And that's the evolutionary cycle of a planet, that goes from this very light body on a light and higher dimension, and then comes to lower dimensions. It becomes denser and denser and denser. So if you're on the floor already, just take a couple moments and just maybe take a sigh, a dramatic sigh, or wiggle your hips around a wee bit. And then we're going to come up into Anahata Asana. So while the lower back was really emphasized in Sphinx, it's more the upper back that's emphasized in Anahata Asana. So you take your knees about hip distance or a little bit wider apart, your hips over your knees, and then slide your arms out. You can bend one of your arms to make a little pillow for your forehead, or maybe it's comfortable for you to have your chin on the ground. But you'll feel your butt is in the sky, your chest is sinking ever more towards the earth. So the densest planet and the densest incarnation of a planet is Earth, where we are. This is, since I didn't even talk about this, but we're right now also in Michaelmas time. Earth is kind of like the final, it's like the test. There is a seriousness to about to this earthly incarnation because it's so fixed and hard and challenging in its density. So when we study anthroposophy, when we read the work of Steiner, he describes very vividly these four, that we're in the fourth kind of planetary state. So, old Saturn is the language that's used. It was a planet that was really, it was very light. It was just the element of fire. And all that was experienced was warmth. And initially it was just warmth, but as it developed, there was warmth as an inner feeling, and then warmth as an outer feeling. At the end of that cycle, then there was the time of the old sun. Added to the element of warmth was the element of smoke and light. And then there was the old moon cycle. The watery elements were introduced. And then we come into the cycle of the earth. Feel your heart dropping down to the ground. Notice where you feel expansion, where it feels intense. Take another full inhale, and then with your exhale, you can soften all the way down to the ground. Slide forward. So it's like an inchworm, flattening out. Maybe take a little dramatic sigh. Wiggling around, feeling the liquidy parts, the earthy parts. And then take your hands underneath your shoulders and shift back onto your shins, onto your knees. And we're actually going to do a camel pose here. So if you need extra padding underneath your knees, you can always double up your yoga mat, or you can get some very cool knee pads that I use for tiling to slide underneath your knees. If your lower back is sensitive, take your knees a little bit wider than your hips. But if you're pretty open back, take your knees just about hip distance apart. And what this is, we're going to come into a yang moment. So lift up onto your knees so your shins are pushing down to the ground, your thighs are lifting up. Take your hands to your lower back. Spin your elbows in so your heart is supported, popping up. Take a full inhale as you get long, and then with your exhale, drop your head back. This might be as far as you go. If you want, you can drop your hands down to your heels, pulling your heels, turning on your back bend, and you can do a lion's pose. So stick out your tongue, look at your third eye, and with a whisper, roar. And then slowly come up and reach back into child's pose. Maybe you have to wipe your chin, depends how long your tongue was or how wet it was. Now, in anthroposophy, in the anthroposophical system of spiritual science, there was a turning point of time. And this actually refers to the events at Golgotha, the resurrection of the Christ. Now, this isn't about just Christianity, the religion, and the doctrine of narrowness that, is only kept over here for these people. This is really an earth development event. Now start to roll up. Cross your ankles, roll over your crossed ankles, or drop to the side, bringing your legs out in front of you. Bend your knees and roll yourself down onto the ground. And hug your right knee in towards your chest. If your hips are tight, lift up your butt and slide both of your hips to the right, and then drop your left knee to the left. Right knee to the left. Take a full inhale. And with your exhale, just sigh it out. It's so wonderful the way Gigi Young describes it as it's not just her description. This is in spiritual science. This is in the anthroposophical system as well. It's in other mystical systems. But this event of the resurrection is an event for the earth. It marks a shift in our planetary development. But it also is like a blueprint for the evolution of the human being. And different traditions call it different things. In Buddhism, it's this development of your diamond body. But we can call it the resurrection body. But it's something that is in the future for all human beings who choose to develop along in this organic, natural law with the planet Earth. As the planet Earth now turns at this turning point of time, there is a shift where we are moving higher and higher up back into a lighter state of being. A higher dimension, in New Age terminology, the 3D to 5D, that kind of stuff. But it's not divorced from any of these systems. You'll see the same themes echoed through all these different traditions. That now our path, along with the path of the earth, is to become lighter. And that as we as human beings develop from the inside out into the world, through our actions, through our deeds, we are walking this path of liberation, this path of love that is in step with the planet Earth's evolution. So in the anthroposophical system, the Earth is destined to move into a new state thousands of years from now. We move to new Jupiter, new Venus, and then Vulcan. But essentially, we don't have to, understand it cognitively. We want to understand it more as this gesture in our being, this moving into more lightness, more love, more freedom that comes from our heart forces. This capacity that we as human beings have unique here on this earth to love out of freedom. Now hug your knees back to center. You can bend both your knees and lift up your face and even kiss your knees. Thank you for this wonderful gift of a body during your life on the earth. And then stretch your right leg long, hugging your left knee closer towards you. If you want, you can shift your hips to the left and then drop your left knee to the right, coming into the other side of the twist. So unique to Earth is the fact that not only that we are born and that we die, but that we can love on purpose. You know, so much of Christ's consciousness, or you know, this even the biography of Jesus Christ, Jesus, the Christ bearer, is about his incredible capacity for love. And we've seen it in these little kind of microdoses near each of our lives, where we can on purpose act out of love. And what that will do even to the mood in a room, even into, you know, the flavor of our life, it has this natural ability to expand things and lift things up. And you can even see that when you're loving to someone, they naturally have more expansion and they light up. And it's through these loving deeds that we actually bring a new substrate into the world that is part of what builds our future ability to have this resurrection body, to be part of the evolution with the planet Earth, to become lighter. So even if in this lifetime we don't achieve the same level as Jesus, to bear the Christ being, to bring the Christ in us for this resurrection, for this new experience, even if we don't get that, we still see that there is a capacity to, as we mature, to lighten up, to as we become more serious about our spirituality, that we really are able to merge with a bigger thing, a bigger action, a bigger motion, a bigger direction in the world. That we're able to nurture our will to be more loving, to be more kind. So during this eclipse tomorrow, or maybe the day after, depending where you are, you know, what thing can come to a close? What relationship is ready to be put to sleep or be finished with, that will help you become more of a being that makes choices, not just from, you know, our intelligence, but from our capacity to love, from our feeling life, from the life that actually connects us to this much bigger biography that's going on for the whole world. So even while we have these incredible, difficult things between war and disasters that are happening, what small, significant acts can we participate in that will serve this future of love and freedom for the earth, for humanity? And then with your next inhale, start to roll back to center. Stretch your body long. Do whatever you want to do movement-wise before we come into Shavasana. Maybe you need a blanket or socks on. And then come to lie in Shavasana. Our Yin Shavasana is legs a little wider if you can. I find sometimes my blanket's too narrow. I'd rather stay warm. But whatever you're able to manage. Close your eyes. Have your palms open to receive. And feel the support to your body relaxing just even from lying on the ground here. Today, as we transition out of our Shavasana, I'm going to read our verse one more time. The Serapis meditation given by Alfred Lingen. Given by him, but it's anonymous. I am black as the night from which the light of a new day descends. I am past, present, and future. I am the anointed of heaven. I am what I am. I am the blended colors of life that light the bridge into the new age. I am seed, plant, and flower. I am the anointed of earth. I am that I am. Start to smile and wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes, maybe wiggle your nose. And with your next inhale, stretch your arms long up over your head, wiggle your feet away from your hands. And with your exhale, hug your knees to your chest and roll over onto your right hand side, feeling your liveliness, your vibrancy. And then help yourself up into a comfortable seated position and allow your hands to come to heart center in prayer. Wiggle your spine tall. Feel the expansiveness in your ribs. And lift up an image of the person you dedicated your class to. Smiling, healthy, radiant, alive. Or lift up an image of the part of the world that you're sending your love towards. Imagine it healed, peaceful, shining. And let's close our practice with one final Om. Empty your breath first. Take a deep inhale. Bring your prayer hands to your third eye. Invite the divine light. And as we bow forward, together we say, Namaste. And then make some noise to get present and cleanse your area. Woo! You can give yourself a little clap or a little pat on the shoulder or back for doing a great job today. And I just want to invite you to join me starting October 8th on a series where we're going to explore more of these themes around planetary evolution and what it's like for a human being to incarnate and excarnate from this world, as well as initiate. So more information at my website, www.raestar.com, RAESTAR. And you can get information how to join the Zoom classes, how to donate, all the good stuff. I so look forward to seeing you.